If I may just comment, I think it's very important when you said, how can you keep traveling, that one person goes from all those places and not just have local people who are in the different places giving different messages. You have to have the bridges across those cultures. Thank you.
Ram Kumar from Tarang Software. Question is for MR. This question is specific. It's about wanting to understand whether there are good experiences that he has seen of how a software services company based in India has successfully created sales, business development relationships in the Silicon Valley. Because the problem that most entrepreneurial young companies face is an inability to invest in the sales and marketing engine. And looking at MR's vast experience in sales and marketing, I'd like to, therefore, I'm reversing the problem. I'm saying a service company based in India, how do you create winning, successful sales and marketing relationships in the market in where it is selling?
Yeah, so a couple of points in that regard. One is you have to, first of all, a small company doesn't have that much money. And the second thing is, if you're coming over from India to the U.S., again, you know, the costs are pretty steep in terms of sales and marketing. So some of the smart things I've seen people do, I think one is to reach out to the venture capital community in the U.S., especially if you're a services company and you're looking to get into customers. The VCs are a pretty interesting group of people that you can talk to, or market to, and they have this whole effect of having 20, 25 portfolio companies. So you might find opportunities in terms of doing that. The other thing I think is really a lot of people have to also focus on the Indian connection. Probably every company in the U.S. in the Fortune 500 has at least 50 or 100 Indians in IT. So use that connection and get into those organizations. And I think that's something that not everyone does. So I would do that. The third thing I think is use some modern techniques. Now everybody has access to a blog. I know Sharad has a very interesting blog, but that's a great way to gain credibility worldwide. If you really write interesting things about a certain problem that your company is solving without selling your company, I think you're going to get a lot of more inbound leads than you realize. There are a lot of people even on at sandhill.com who've written blogs, and they're getting leads for their business based on just the thought leadership and information they put forth. So there's many clever ways of doing it. I think putting a direct salesperson with a $200,000 salary is probably the one that I think is the least desirable at this point.
I'd like to go all the way towards the end, at the back there. Yeah.
Hi, I have a question for Fred. A lot of Indian call center companies, or version 1.0 or version 2.0, like Sutherland, Daksh, opened up their own call centers in Philippines. Now, obviously, your acquisition of Integrion is probably one of the first steps in Philippines, acquiring some companies in India. But I haven't really seen very many Philippines-based contact center opening up centers in India. Any particular reasons why that trend hasn't picked up from the Philippines?
I didn't catch that last part. You haven't seen very many pardon me?
Contact centers or call centers opening up centers in India?
Indian companies are
Yeah.
in the Philippines.
Right. I think it's, I guess maybe it's comparative advantage. Most of the Philippine-based companies have really grown up focused on the U.S. market, and I think just given the cultural affinity that stems from the colonial heritage with the U.S., I think there's just been a lot of success. There's just been a lot of success, sticking with that model. Part of it also is, I think, there hasn't been as much entrepreneurial activity in the Philippines that has achieved scale. If you a lot of the bigger players are Convergys and Teletech, et cetera, who are in both. But in terms of Philippine-based companies, eTelecare is one of probably the two largest. So that's really been the main driver. I think there aren't as many people that have that ability. And secondly, just specifically for the voice market, for the U.S. market, in terms of voice, it's just been a very comfortable experience so far, just sticking with the Philippines. I think it's going to change, but it's been slower, obviously, than the other way around.
Hi. First of all, my name is Anu Pandey, and I'm managing director of an IT services company called NetCustomer. My question is pretty much for the whole panel, and it's what if we are looking for a partner in the geography like Canada or Australia, and what if we are looking for the market? And I'm talking about I'm talking from a emerging company perspective or a smaller company perspective.
So I'm sorry, could you just clarify the question?
I'll clarify, sure.
Thank
What
you.
if we are looking for partners in ICT, in the geography that you represent? How to go about?
Oh, okay.
One is, of course, to contact you.
Yes,
But,
exactly.
but beyond that, what's the...
So what will be the next few steps?
Okay. So AIIA, if for example through the contact, would work with you to identify the sort of expertise and value that you could add to companies in Australia. So we'd help do the matchmaking. I mean, I talked a little bit about Find ICT, where we've set up a national community where value can be exchanged and those things can be identified. So we need to do that matchmaking for you, and I guess have a little date book that you can come to Australia and then interview those organisations, talk to them, because it's not just about finding the value benefit, it's also, of course, about are they people that you can work with on a long-term basis. But that's certainly something that AIIA can help you with.
And I would echo many of those comments. The Industry Association is a great place to begin. But also, particularly in Canada, the partnerships that exist that I referenced. We have several extremely good relationships with economic development arms of the provincial jurisdictions, as well as the large cities such as the City of Toronto. And in dialogue and partnership with them, we often have found meeting with companies, Indian companies, that are asking questions. So whether it be Nova Scotia Business Inc. or the Prince Edward Island Business Development Office or equivalent agencies, we can pool interest there. And the beauty of the business environment is that we really do welcome other participants in our industry. We're not so cloistered that we really reject competition. We recognize that competition is good. And in those conversations, even if they might have started on the basis of this company could be a competitor of mine, invariably it turns into a conversation of how our common presence in the same market can add value to both of us.